Hello everyone, and welcome to this audio podcast. In this series, the Phelemonix Clax charter. This is the Phelemonix Clax charter v.3. V3. This is an audio podcast aligned to a storm robotics production. This is the scientist, and what I thought I'd do is provide an overview or an abstract in around works that has been developed or co-developed in line to retrospective works in collaboration with the renal patient support group and the RPSG. And so what I thought I'd do here is provide an overview around this works and where this works is and in anticipating a sort of a prospective conference wherein the original abstract around this works has been put forward to the international for the International Pediatric Transplantation Association conference that's set to take place prospectively. The full works around this will be available and sort of accessible through collaborators, the renal patient support group, the RPSG. The works around this works has been put forward as an abstract in aligned to a research poster. And here I'm going to again sort of just provide an overview around this in sort of anticipation. So the abstract that was put forward was in around using the internet and online methods or methodologies for data collection, and it was a retrospective review on applications. Research using the internet provides unparalleled opportunities for subject access and is not limited by constraints of time and geology. And there's works in literature by Eisenbach and Till in around early 2000 who highlight how online and the online methodologies have allowed have allowed researchers to develop aspects of research in the use of the World Wide Web and the internet, etc. Qualitative work, in line to this, qualitative work aims to convert visual or narrative data into non-quantitative outcomes. So thus, where there are questions in regard to what, why, and how, but not how many or how frequently, and is also characterized by its own distinctive vocabulary. Which reaches across different healthcare specialties or specialisms and disciplines. The qualitative data, the qualitative data collection sort of modality aims to sort of complement sort of numerical investigations or quantitative research investigations by producing records of semi-structured dialogue or focus group based conversations, observational research or film capture, for example, and documentary, inquiry, or survey. And there's works by Babur in the early in around 2000s, and more and in the early 2000s, who highlighted the sort of the differentiations between qualitative and quantitative based research in context of healthcare research. An example relevant to healthcare research, or even scientific research, or sort of medical or clinical research or nursing research, for example, is and was sort of interview-based investigation on the experience of NHS care and treatment in lymphoma patients. And there's works by Zeebeland in 2011 that looked at this particular investigation. And data collection has become increasingly important to nursing and allied health professional investigations and research. However, the emphasis on evidence-based medicine, or EBM, together with recognition of the importance of quality of life, have prompted healthcare professionals of all disciplines to acknowledge the value of qualitative methods or methodologies, and works by Sackett and team in 1990 in the mid 90s or 90s, and more specifically 1996, highlighted the sort of link in context of healthcare research and aligned to evidence-based medicine, which can provide which can and also provide a sort of new dimension of data relating to experiences, attitudes, and beliefs in order to inform and develop better healthcare sort of strategies. And in this works the aims in and around the aims and objectives, if you like. The aim here was to conduct a sort of retrospective review of one online methods or methodologies for a qualitative and quantitative data collection in research, to explore sort of the consent and ethical issues in and around online method in and around using the internet and online methods or methodologies. And three, the implications and the implications for sort of prospective or future research practices. And so with that, this sort of ends this particular audio podcast. Again, the full works around this can be identified through the Renal Patient Support Group, the RPSG, and again, this was a sort of overview in anticipating the International Pediatric Transplant Association, or IPTA conference, the IPTA conference in 2023. Once again, this is an audio podcast aligned to the Clax charter as the Clax charter v.3. This is another Storm Robotics production. Thank you for tuning in.